fella went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal.
October horror movie number 3, Antlers, from 2021, which I watched on HBO Max. Retreading well-worn horror tropes with a surprising lack of thoroughness and continuity, including the good old just steal ideas from indigenous peoples gag, this movie is so unmemorable that I was several minutes in before I realized I'd watched it before. My score, 5 out of 8. I do kind of like the main character. Here are some final thoughts on the finished Valak piece. This is going to sound really arrogant, and it probably is, but I can't restrain myself. In drawing this, I was kind of trying to channel Rembrandt, and I kind of feel like I succeeded. If you look at any popular Rembrandt, you'll see that he painted a lot of just filthy scenes. Like, everything looks so dirty, and so many of the people that he painted look just miserable. And there's just this dismal feeling to a lot of stuff that he did. And so the dismal feeling was definitely something I wanted to capture here. The dismal feeling and the filthy feeling. Because, this is a demon that has taken on a blasphemous form, as Lorraine put it. So, as you can see, there are no whites in this picture. No white at all. And the lightest colors that we get are the light tan and the light gray. And in the grays, in an object that would have been actually white if this were a real nun, I once again incorporated green into the gray shading. For one thing, because these grays come out really blue, and I didn't want blue. And for another thing, because the greens that I chose were really brownish greens and really grayish greens. They weren't these beautiful true emerald colors or lime greens or something. They were greens that were pretty much guaranteed to make the grays look dirty. And I think I accomplished that incredibly well. I mean, it looks so awful. And then I enjoy the contrast between the face and how rough the colors of the face are, with kind of the smoothness of the outer garment. I'm so sorry, I don't know what the different names for the nuns' garments are called, so please forgive me. But the outer garment, the kind of cloak-looking thing, I shaded really smoothly, and these lines that are running down, and I think that's a great contrast with the roughness of the face. And I achieved some of that same roughness in the white part. And I've got the background crosses really, really blended in, as I was discussing before, making them a lot more subtle than I had originally intended. And I think that makes the more intentional parts of the picture, the more overt colors and shading, stand out especially well. And of course, you'll remember in The Nun, the movie, if you've seen it, which you should have, there are just hundreds of crosses around the monastery, and there's all this mist, and it's really creepy. And of course, the crosses are there to keep Valak in. And so, as I mentioned before, this is supposed to reflect this idea that Valak is surrounded by crosses, but there's also this kind of mist that's making things confused and kind of a mess. Like, is this really a nun? And what are these crosses here for? Are they here to keep evil out of the monastery, or to keep evil trapped within the monastery? It's the ambiguity of the scenes in the movie The Nun was something I kind of wanted to get a feeling of here. And I think I managed that pretty well. But mostly what I think I managed really well is the Rembrandt feel of this picture. Like, I'm super proud of myself for this. But I guess I'll stop talking about that now, because we're going to go on to another artistic project here pretty soon. October horror movie number 4, Dark Night of the Scarecrow, from 1981, which I watched on Shudder. Grim revenge porn with a surprising lack of gore. This movie is well constructed with an interesting cast and thoroughly enjoyable, only suffering a little from a slightly anticlimactic ending and a couple of loose story threads I would have liked to see wrapped up. My favorite moments.
You come whisper in my ear, and it'll still be a secret.
I know what you did to Bubba. And you lied about him.
My score, 7 out of 8. I wish it had shown some of the aftermath and resolved the DA's storyline. Look who's back in Denver. Okay, I'm going to capture some of these clouds for my video blog. So anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Just because I think, I've lived here for 30 some years, and I haven't spent a lot of time in other parts of the country, so I may be just full of nonsense, but I feel like we have the best clouds here in Colorado, where we've got crazy interactions between mountains and less mountains, and some plains in some parts of the state.
Johnny said, "Devil, just come on back if you ever want to try again. Because I told you once, you son of a gun, I'm the best there's ever been."